Hi, and welcome to another edition of City at Your Service. I'm Jonathan Thomas, and now I'm joined by Alejandra Villanueva, a public information specialist with Austin Small and Minority Business Resources, and also Eddie Bynog, a public information specialist senior with Austin Small and Minority Owned Business Resources. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff with your department and the good work you all are doing over there. But first, let's just start by getting to know you two.
Okay.
Okay, sounds
So first off, how did you first become interested in working for the city of Austin? Whoever wants to start, jump in.
Okay, I guess I'll go first.
All right, Eddie.
So I first became well. I think we'll look a little bit back at my history first. So I first started as a print journalist for a newspaper, small newspaper in Louisiana, and about a year or two after that, I transitioned to government, which I think is just a natural progression, right? And I first started in health. Moved a couple years later on to affordable housing and disaster response, and a couple years after that, I started working for the city of Austin, and particularly with small business now. So I've kind of like always been in government, and the work with ASMBR really aligned with my mission and my values. So that's
And,
how I
uh,
got
and,
started.
and where in Louisiana did you work? May I
Oh
ask?
yeah, sure. So, well, I graduated from Southern University, which is an HBCU in Baton Rouge, so I started working there, and then I went to North Louisiana, where I worked for the Department of Behavioral Health, and then back to Baton Rouge, where I worked in disaster response and affordable housing.
All right, nice. My aunt, rest in peace, she is a Southern grad.
Oh,
Jaguars.
thank
All
you.
right, Alejandro, what about you? How did you first become interested in working for the city?
Yeah, I'm new to the workforce. So I graduated from the University of Arkansas in May 2024. So I've
Go
always been,
dog.
yes, pig. But I've always been with the city. I was at FSD for 6 months as a temp, and then I moved over to SMBR. But the reason I knew I wanted to work at the city is because I watched my dad. He was in corporate for like 20 years. And after like 20 years of late nights and stuff like that, he moved to the city about 5 years ago. And you could really see like change in his quality of life. He had more time to do his hobbies, more time for his family, and I really knew that this was gonna be the place for me. I'm also a born and raised Austinite, so getting to help my community in any way I can it's really rewarding for me.
Nice. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Bowie, James Bowie High. Yeah, in South Austin.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a
All
Bull.
right. Go Bulldogs. Yeah, exactly. Very nice, Alejandro. All right. Now, what is the most interesting or unexpected part of your job you feel like that people may not know? Which I feel like, there's a lot of, I think people don't know about what you all do. That's why we're having this.
Mhm.
But what would you say is like something people would be intrigued by or would be surprised by?
Oh, yeah. I think for me coming in, it was how hands-on we are, how many events we go to, how many events we host. We do small business office hours every month, which is just a one-stop shop for all city departments that have small business resources. And I think that's a really big one of how we can like connect to the small business community in Austin, like on a day-to-day basis. So I would say how much we connect with our community is the biggest thing for me. I didn't know how much in the field work I'd be doing when I came in, and I think a lot of people don't expect that from us as well.
Yeah, and I would say one of the more surprising aspects to me, especially moving from a different state, right, and then immediately, beginning almost immediately working with the city of Austin, is how passionate the citizens are.
Mhm.
When things happen, when we roll out services, if we're requesting input on some sort of program or service, people are very passionate about letting you know their thoughts, right, about what they want to see and their expectations of you as a representative of the city and as a city department.
Yeah, very
Nice.
passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are very passionate.
I can imagine that they're really passionate. I can imagine, certainly, which is good, which is
Yeah.
a good
Mhm.
thing, you know? Um, okay, so now the big question really is, what do you all do at Austin Small and Minority Business Resources, ASMBR for short?
Yeah, ASMBR for short. Well, the name is short, but the mission is long. So at ASMBR, we manage the city of Austin's minority and business owned minority and women business owned procurement program. And so what that is every 5 years, the city publishes a disparity study. And what the disparity study does is look at Austin's market, and it determines whether or not, for women, specifically women in minority owned business, whether or not there's disparity in the market. And because there is disparity in the market, our mission is to make sure we open the door to opportunity. That's a motif you'll probably hear a lot today during our discussion, is that we open the door of opportunity for minority and women-owned businesses. And what that means is we provide supportive services, we provide opportunities to network, we host events, and we also provide resources through our partnerships with the community to help out that community of businesses.
And I want to ask about the disparity report that you all see. Have you noticed that getting smaller? I mean, where do you, what level are we looking at compared to, a few years back, for
Yeah.
instance?
Yeah, well, I think, because it happens over an extended period of time, right? What we look at. So, the last disparity study was 2022, which is my
Mhm.
first year sort of like acquainted with the study. Whether or not the levels, what the disparity is, whether or not it went up or down, like I can't tell you those specific numbers, but I can tell you is that over the course of like over a year, this was during COVID, right? The consultant that we hired sort of they did interviews. The study is made up of both quantitative and qualitative feedback. And so they look at the study and they determine that, okay, well, we still see areas where the program can, the work it does is actually being is beneficial to the community who are still in some ways, like affected by disparities.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. Alejandra, what is the day to day for you all over there in that department?
Oh, for sure. I go to a lot of events. I love events. I love community outreach. It's so fun. A lot of people say that public service is a thankless job. Not here. I get thanked all the time.
Which is great,
That
which is a great
stuff like
thing.
that because
You love that.
they're so grateful that the city has resources, and a lot of them come in not knowing these resources at all. Like, for office hours, we partner with FSD, which is financial services, EDD, which is economic development, DSD, which is development services, and Austin Public Library, and more. So, Austin Public Library has a lot of resources that a lot of people didn't know for small businesses, and they all do, and everyone's so surprised, and for office hours to have, like, a one-stop shop, it's just so nice. So, yeah, so a lot of events, a lot of social media for me. I cover all of our social media, and a big thing that we do is, like, events newsletters, making sure everyone is aware of these opportunities. So, yeah, just a little mix of that here and there.
All right, and we'll get into how people can sign up for that
Yes.
letter a little later in the show. But no, that's great. Now, say I am a small and obviously minority owned business, right? I'm a business owner. Just how will your department help me on a day to day basis? What are some jewels you all will be giving me?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So again, I believe, well, it first starts with certification, right?
Mhm.
That's sort of like the main thing that our department manages. And if you are a small minority women-owned business and you would like to become certified, what we do is, well, monthly we host a pre-certification workshop that we encourage everyone who wants to become certified to go to the workshop. It's about an hour and a half
Mhm.
long. It's virtual for ease of convenience. To our entrepreneurs and small
Mhm.
business owners because they're busy. And this workshop sort of, discusses, you know, what you need to do in order to get certified, walks you through the steps, talks about some of the benefits and also some of the resources you'll have access to after you get certified.
Okay, all right, nice, nice, nice. What are some misconceptions of being a certified firm in the city?
Yeah, I would say one big misconception is that it costs money. Get a lot of questions like, "How much does this cost?" Absolutely nothing. It's free. I know a few entities do pay for a certification, that is we are not one of them. It is completely free to get certified with the City of Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eddie, do you want to add?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think we see like different misconceptions,
Mhm.
but I would say the number one misconception for me is that our program sort of maybe awards
Mhm.
businesses who maybe aren't necessarily qualified for work, but certification is a determination that your business is, minority owned. Again, we have this structure framework from the disparity study that says there are disparities in the market, right? So the biggest misconception I see is that maybe people who aren't qualified for work receive work, and that is not the case. Our certification is a very rigorous determination that not only are you a minority owned business, but you're also qualified and more than capable of performing this work. And, a lot of our work is just sort of leveling the playing field. And again, going back to that motif, is opening the door to opportunity for businesses who are maybe underutilized where they shouldn't be.
Mhm.
All right, and now I'll start with you, Eddie, and then Alejandro, you can jump in whenever he's done. What feedback do you hear most often from the business owners, while working with you all?
I'm so glad you asked that question, Jonathan, because the feedback I think I hear most often is just how valuable and helpful the program has been. This year we're hosting our 20th annual Diversity and Contracting Award ceremony. Next year we make 25 years, as a department providing this service to the Austin community. And at every event, at every networking event we run into our clients, we hear just how helpful being certified has been to that business owner, that their business, and just how important it is that we are just out in the community, meeting people, getting more businesses certified, and opening the door to opportunity.
Oh, yeah, and I would just wanna add a shameless plug that we are doing a She Built This, video testimonial series on our, social medias, and we have one up right now with Inez Escamilla with Loose Cannon Industries. She's a woman-owned welding firm, so it's really cool with help from ATXN, of course. We are getting that series going, and we have 2 more coming up, so yeah.
Awesome,
So,
that sounds
great way to look at the feedback.
yeah,
See if you've
yeah,
been getting.
absolutely. That sounds great. And I just want to say, what does it feel like for you all personally? I mean, you touched on it a little bit, Alejandro, but what does it feel like when you do see that positive feedback and you hear thank you? Just what does that do for you all personally?
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me, always being in government for like almost 10 years now, it's just always important for me to align with a mission, right? With a department or an organization where my work directly impacts someone else's livelihood or just well-being. So, I think, you feel proud of the work you do, and it, helps you get out of bed in the morning with coffee. And it helps you get out of bed in the morning, and continue to do, what you do because you know that for every social media post or for every, email newsletter you send, that you are directly impacting, how someone works or the opportunities, that they see. So, yeah, it's very, very rewarding work.
For sure, yeah, very fulfilling. I love my city so much. I love Austin. I was born and raised here. So it's definitely this if I can give back to my community any way I can, even if it's through like social media and marketing, then I'm very proud to do so. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now we'll get back to the nitty gritty here. You all offer a lot of support services. What are some that you feel like businesses should take more advantage of? We'll start with you, Alejandra.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Office hours. I've said it a million times. It's a very good resource. One stop shop. You're not trying to call us, you're not trying to email any other department. We are all there to answer your questions. I know FSD walks through like how to become a vendor with you if you come to office hours. It's once a month. It's also we go to different of the branches of the Austin Public Library. So if we're too far from you one month, we might be in your neighborhood the other. So that's a big one. And our small business connections conference every year is huge and everyone should come. We have keynote speakers, we have prime vendors that are available to talk to and connect with. As as long as much more. So definitely those two for sure.
Yeah, definitely those 2, and, I would also maybe plug there are 2 other services we offer. One is through the, EGBI, it's the Economic Growth Business Incubator, where we, offer free hours of coaching for, new and existing small business owners, and we have a partnership with UT's I don't want to get this wrong. It's IC Squared Institute, where it's separated into 2 funnels, and one is for like newer businesses, one is for more established firms, and it basically is it's a 2-3 month program where they collaborate with these business owners to help them secure, right, and teach them methods on how to procure government contracts. So not just city, but city, state, and federal contracts, and sort of provides them like the knowledge, the tools, and the resources they need to perform on these contracts.
IC squared. Okay, cool. All right. Remember that IC squared. Um, are there, before we get y'all out of here, are there any other events or trainings or just anything that you feel like people should know about that you all have coming up here?
Yeah, we mentioned it, I think once before,
Mhm.
but our monthly certification workshop. If you are interested in getting certified at all, that is very helpful. They walk you through it. They're there to ask all your questions. Yeah, definitely the monthly
Yeah.
certification workshop.
Yeah, and I'm not a liberty to discuss everything we have coming up this year, but we do have some exciting things for our small business community. Things that they have been asking for that we are finally able to roll out in 2026. We also have over, I think, 36 events scheduled this year, so we're definitely asking people to to stay plugged in on our website, on our social media for more of those announcements. And, yeah, just some really exciting things, including our 4th annual Small Business Connections Conference, that is going to be hosted in August this year.
All right. Fourth annual Business Connections Conference. I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick. What is one thing you can tell us that people have been wanting for, people have been longing for that you all are finally going to be able to provide for them or
I think it's, more what can we do more for like our small business community? We in the last few years we've rolled out a host of supportive services, and again, I think we first started the first year we started really doing supportive services. We had 12 events, and after that we had like 24, and now we're about to have 36. So that's like a threefold increase
Yeah.
in just a couple of years, right? Of the amount of services we provide. But one of my big things is uh, it's the ABCs of business is always be connecting. So, this coming year, what people have been asking for is more opportunities to connect and network, and that's what we're providing.
all right, great, great. And lastly, where can people get more information? Website, social media. Now's your time to tell people where they can find out more about what you all are doing over.
Sure. Yes. Our website, we have our newsletter sign up as well on our website and our social media. We have a LinkedIn and a Facebook. We post events, opportunities, tips, testimonials in real time. So, yeah.
Yep. Austin Small and Minority Business Resources.
Yep.
Reach out to us.
Hmm.
All right, great. Well, thank you both so much for joining us. This was fun and very informative. We really appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that was Alejandra Villanueva and Eddie Bynog from Austin Small and Minority Business Resources. I'm Jonathan Thomas. This has been another edition of City at Your Service. Take care.